And that, my friends, is how a revolution dies.
If you're a fan of The Hunger Games, then you know that the 4 blockbuster films dealt with some heavy, dark, and at more than one time, heartbreaking subject matter. So you'd think that the set would be just as serious, right? Well, not exactly. By all accounts, the Hunger Games set was known to be a dynamic, playful, and cheerful place despite the dark dystopian realities of Panem. Today, we're bringing you the best behind-the-scenes moments of this wickedly talented set, including which tributes pulled off the best pranks, who gave Josh Hutcherson a bad concussion, and why Jennifer Lawrence is, according to Liam Hemsworth, somehow the best and also the worst actor to work with on set.
My smile is so ingenuine. People are gonna think that I hate it.
Despite being love interests on screen, Jennifer Lawrence and Josh Hutcherson were nothing but absolute pals off screen. By all accounts, fellow actors, producers, and other personnel could not help but mention how despite their characters' serious and dramatic storylines, these two could not stop joking around with each other up until the camera started rolling. You'd think that the director and his team would be super annoyed with 2 kids fooling around on set, but these two were anything but unprofessional as soon as the director yelled,
Action.
Tracking.
With the 3-year difference between the two, Jennifer and Josh clearly had a big sister, little brother vibe while filming the Hunger Games movies. Watch these behind-the-scenes outtakes of the two chasing and pushing each other between takes. And don't for a second think that these feelings expressed by Josh weren't mutual. In this outtake, Jennifer is literally pushing him around like a big sister would a little brother. When you consider how close these two were, it's easy to understand why these two had such an electric on-screen chemistry. Not to mention, seeing these two stars have fun on the job must have inspired others on set to not take their job too seriously. One of the most intense scenes of the 4 movies is when Josh's character starts to go into a manic in The Mockingjay. On-screen, Peeta looks like he's inches away from taking away Katniss's life, but in real life, apparently the scene was extremely difficult to take without one or the other bursting into laughter. Watch this hilarious outtake of Jennifer and Josh pretending to be cats between takes to cut the tension of an otherwise dark and violent scene.
And then maybe we have a shot at being friends.
According to sources, the Hunger Games set was a major prank war between actors. Not surprisingly, Jennifer is probably the one who started it all when she accidentally gave Josh a minor concussion while training for a combat scene on set.
I kicked him in the head by accident.
Apparently, the only fitting way Josh thought he could get even with his co-star was to sneak Glimmer's body double into Jen's trailer.
The dummy thing had me for a little bit.
Listen to these snippets on how the prank went down.
He put a dead dummy on my toilet holding toilet paper and it scared me.
So when she opened up her bathroom to go use the bathroom, she saw a rotting human being.
The prank scared Jen so much that there's a circulating rumor that she even peed her pants with how terrified she was.
Sources tell me that she actually peed her pants. I didn't see it for a fact.
This just goes to show that you shouldn't mess with either of these young actors unless you're ready to be injured or downright petrified.
I like to keep a set fun.
Speaking of pranks, other actors took it upon themselves to put the prank and jokes queen Jennifer in her place. Actor Jeffrey Wright, who plays BT in Mockingjay, famously gifted his young co-star a beautiful Tiffany box only to find it full of live crickets. Since she opened it in her trailer, Jennifer was reported to have spent weeks trying to get them all out.
Won't be replicated very easily.
Jennifer's other co-star, Liam Hemsworth, has also said that working on set was an absolute blast to the point where it didn't feel like work. But of course, the two being best friends offset found it awkward to muster up that intimate energy for an on-screen kiss. In an interview, the actor revealed that the most awkward scenes to shoot on set were any kissing scenes with his co-star.
Anytime I had to kiss Jennifer was pretty uncomfortable.
But don't get it twisted, it had nothing to do with the fact that they weren't professionals. Rather, it was because Jennifer would choose specifically what she would eat for lunch right before they locked lips.
She'd be like, yeah, I had tuna, I had garlic, and I didn't brush my teeth. Like,
Outside Outside of the Katniss, Peeta, and Gale love triangle, Jennifer also had great relationships with the other actors on set. One of our favorite on- and off-screen dynamics is between Jen and the youngest actor on set, Amanda Stenberg, who played Rue.
Jennifer she was great to work with.
Their chemistry on screen was absolutely electric, and from these outtakes, we can see why. Channeling her big sister energy to the youngest actor on the set makes us feel all warm and tingly inside.
Their stuff won't be nice.
Fans will not forget the epic and unforgettable scene in which Katniss is having her last conversation with Rue after she died protecting the tribute from District 13. And while this scene had audiences everywhere tearing up, this tribute says that apparently Jen had this crazy habit of telling hilarious and inappropriate jokes right before the director yells action.
Hey, remind me to tell you this really funny fart joke when this is over. Action. Oh my God!
Although she may look innocent and harmless, Amanda was amongst the most deviant pranksters on the set of the first Hunger Games film. Alongside another tribute, Jacqueline Emerson, also known as Foxface.
Madeline and Jackie, those two are like the dynamic duo of pranks, okay?
This dynamic duo even left a signature on a post-it note every time they pulled off a prank. Their signature prank was stealing the other actors' clothes or even putting them in the refrigerator.
Like a note on my mirror that's like, "Where are your pants, Jack? You'll never find them."
Probably the most epic prank pulled off by these young actresses involved high school girls, a stalker scare, Jack Quaid, who played Marvel in the first film, and Alexander Ludwig, who played Cato. Because the tributes were shooting off location, they all bunked up in a hotel close by. So naturally, Amanda and Jacqueline pulled off some major pranks on their fellow actors, because that's what you do when you're hanging out with all of your friends. This prank got so intense that apparently Jack really thought he had a group of fangirl stalkers on his tail. Of course, once he found out that this was all staged, he knew exactly who was behind this epic prank.
I bow to them. It was, I concede the war.
By now, you've probably realized that although they were out to kill each other in the first flick, the actors who played the tributes in real life actually liked each other. At the end of every filming day, the gang would hang out, have dance parties, and even eat sushi. Just check out this clip of the crew playing ninja between takes on location.
No, I totally got you.
It's my turn.
Singing in the van, and just being silly teens on set.
Like, goddamn, I'm so hungry.
Elizabeth Banks, who plays Effie Trinket in the films, has by all means the wackiest and most performative wardrobe on the Hunger Games set. And while we thought she would have loved dressing to the nines throughout the films, apparently her outfits prevented her from being candid and letting loose because of how heavy and campy they were.
I'm stuck in this all day long.
There's no question that Pan Am fashion is avant-garde to say the least. And while Elizabeth Banks, or Effie, was used to it, Jennifer expressed that it was difficult for her at times to channel this feminine part of herself. Check out this behind-the-scenes outtake of Jen expressing how she actually had a nightmare about being in a big dress in front of a room full of people.
I had this dream that I was in this ridiculous dress in front of hundreds of people I don't know, and I had to spin around like an idiot.
We'll never forget that first scene when all the tributes are in the arena. It's arguably one of the most dramatic and intense scenes of the whole movie, and with good reason. Each person needed to fight each other to the death for a chance to get some of the best survival gear in order to get the best chance of winning the games. While the scene was beautifully choreographed, what we don't see is how hot it was that day when the actors were shooting that famous clip.
Shout out to Juliana for making these coats so hot.
Shooting on location is always tricky business, and so to combat the heat, Jennifer apparently spent much of her time between takes with her pants around her ankles.
And just having my pants around my ankles outside, I was like, I don't even care anymore. I don't care.
There's no question that the Hunger Games film put Amanda on the map. Her role in the first film completely catapulted her career. You may have recognized her from the big blockbuster hit, The Hate U Give, but that doesn't mean she has forgotten her roots and where it all started. In an interview with Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show, Amanda revealed that Jennifer Lawrence was a mentor to her on the set of The Hunger Games, in many ways. Aside from mentoring the young actress, she also very practically taught Amanda how to pee in the woods.
Devin, let's bring him down.
The cast of the Harry Potter franchise were all perfectly behaved behind the scenes.
I'm an angel. I'm an angel.
Okay, maybe not, but they did share some sweet moments on set, as well as some potentially dangerous ones. If you've ever wondered how slugs taste, or how Ginny coped with being trapped in the Chamber of Secrets, we'll fill you in.
Why are you so determined to embarrass me?
Ginny waited so long for Harry to finally return her affections, but Bonnie Wright wanted to wait even longer before locking lips with Daniel Radcliffe. Apparently, they both felt it was strange to smooch someone they'd grown up with, which made each actor nervous. Needless to say, they didn't quite get this in one take. It took
quite a few the first film, yeah.
Bonnie estimates that their nerves caused them to redo this scene 30 times before Harry and Ginny's first kiss looked convincing in The Half-Blood Prince. The lesson Bonnie learned from this? When it comes to kissing, or just filming a kiss, sometimes you just have to go for it.
We had fun doing it. We joked about,
Speaking of awkward on-set kisses, tons of fans were excited to see Hermione and Ron lock lips for the first time. Or at least were willing to put up with it in exchange for never having to hear Lavender say, "You want one?" again. But behind the scenes, Rupert Grint and Emma Watson were both dreading it, since they considered themselves siblings at that point.
Believe me, we both wanted it to be over equally as much as the other.
As clever as Hermione, Emma came up with a plan.
She knows that rather than doing 27 takes, she knew if she committed really early, we'd get it.
She wasn't about to do 30 takes like Bonnie and Daniel, so she threw herself at Rupert right away.
Once we did it, it was nice.
We know Daniel Radcliffe can act, but can he dance? You might not know what to believe after seeing this clip of him and Shefali Chaudhry at the U-Ball. In Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, we learned even witches and wizards have school dances full of drama. Apparently, it took a little time for Harry and Pravati to get their moves right on set.
It is just a rehearsal.
Later, Daniel claimed to be a fantastic dancer.
But because Harry's not very good, I felt I should play it down.
Is he a really bad dancer or a really good actor? Ron's brothers, Fred and George, are notorious troublemakers, but Rupert was the real problem on set. Sometimes stars couldn't help but giggle during a scene, and every cast member in the Harry Potter franchise is guilty of this, but no one caused as many disruptions as Rupert.
You shouldn't be laughing at the end when you find out that Dan's gonna potentially be killed by Snape.
His laughter distracted his co-stars.
I can see Rupert laughing in the mirror, and I can see it, and I can hear him sniggering in my ear.
Frustrated the crew.
Rupert will start giggling, and he'll pretend he isn't giggling.
And ended up causing the need for a penalty system for unsanctioned laughter.
Red card.
Bonnie was forced to pay up during the Half-Blood Prince, during the scene in which Ginny brings Harry a mince pie because she just couldn't stop giggling. In Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, first-year Hogwarts students learn how to fly brooms for the first time. Playing hand games might not be quite as exciting as soaring through the sky on brooms, but it made for some adorable behind-the-scenes moments. Apparently, Emma couldn't help but take playtime seriously, and her cast members noticed a competitive streak right away.
I'm a very competitive person.
Emma slapping hands with Tom Felton was so cute, we can't believe she was smacking him in the face just a few years after this.
Hermione, no! He's not worth it.
But don't let Emma Watson fool you. She's a competitive and clever person, but that doesn't mean she can't be bad once in a while. This star has broken character due to laughter quite a few times, and was seen using her cell phone while on set.
On the bed, with her shoes on.
Everyone knows electronics don't work at Hogwarts, Emma. As much as we love the movies, they can't incorporate every element from the books, even if we don't like to admit it. One of the things cut from the films was Hermione's oversized front teeth, but it turns out Emma did have some, at least for a while.
Am I supposed to have my teeth on?
According to Sorcerer's Stone director Chris Columbus, Emma is actually wearing false teeth during this scene, but he realized she couldn't keep acting with them in her mouth.
Oh, are you doing magic? Let's see then.
What's more difficult than trying to get a big group of kids to cooperate on set? How about trying to keep them in line when they're flying through the air? That was a real problem thanks to all those Quidditch matches, and when we saw dueling in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Maybe that's why Harry usually sticks to a simple disarming spell.
Expelliarmus! As you might have guessed based on this scene we talked about earlier, there was no love lost between Hermione and Draco. Not unless we're talking about Dramini fanfiction. But behind the scenes, Emma admits she had a huge crush on Tom Felton when they were kids. That's right, during the first two films, Hermione was really smitten with Draco the entire time. Some people think Emma and Tom are dating in real life, but he claims that when he found out about her crush,
I heard it through the grapevine, and then eventually, we became good friends.
Poor Emma had to film her scene on the Hogwarts Express with fake teeth, while Rupert and Daniel got to stuff their mouths with candy.
I've got every single flavour.
Well, hopefully not every flavor.
George sweared he got a bogey flavoured one once.
Apparently, nobody ever told Daniel not to play with his food.
Get a snake and turn it into a whip.
Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint are friends in real life, but on set they had a few differences. Apparently, Rupert was a little bit shy and didn't want to be seen while he was getting his hair and makeup done.
Rather not be seen like this?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Daniel had no problem wearing some different clothes during Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
Wow, we're identical.
Ron learned about the dangers of a broken wand the hard way when he ended up cursing himself with a slug vomiting charm in Chamber of Secrets. We know Ron didn't have a lot of fun being cursed, but Rupert didn't exactly enjoy it either. For Rupert, this movie moment was the most challenging part of the franchise at that point. He had to put slimy plastic slugs in his mouth, and then, well, you know. Don't worry, there was at least one upside to filming this scene.
But they tasted quite nice, actually.
In order to make the process a little bit easier, the crew made sure to add flavoring to the slime, so Rupert was tasting chocolate, fruit, and peppermint. Apparently, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets was full of challenges for the cast, and Bonnie Wright struggled to get through one of the scenes. Ginny Weasley has a bigger part in the second movie, but unfortunately, that was because she was being tormented by you-know-who. She ended up in the Chamber of Secrets, laying on a very cold marble floor. According to Bonnie, the floor was so freezing that she couldn't handle laying on it for long enough to film the scene. So in order to get her through it, the crew hid hot water bottles in her clothes to keep her warm.
As poor Ginny grows weaker.
Emma Watson has had tons of success, both within the Harry Potter franchise and outside of it. But there was a time when filming Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, she actually missed her mark. Literally. Escaping Gringotts wasn't easy behind the scenes either, but at least there wasn't a real dragon.
Well, come on then!
Behind the scenes bloopers are one thing, but Helena Bonham Carter did some real damage to one of her co-stars while working on Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Bellatrix Lestrange has a real mean streak, while Helena's harm was entirely accidental. During one scene, Bellatrix gets her hands on Neville Longbottom and puts him in peril in front of his friends. It turns out, actor Matthew Lewis was in real danger of her wand. Matthew moved while Helena was poking her wand at his ear, and the two collided. Ouch! Matthew ended up with a perforated eardrum and didn't come clean about what happened for 3 days. Don't worry, the pain and hearing loss was temporary, although the jokes kept on going. Helena says she would always shout to ask Matthew if he was all right after this.
I don't know that way. Why would they change math? Math is math!
Watching the animators and voice actors put The Incredibles 2 together is pretty freaky. Just like the Parr family, The Incredibles crew rolled with the punches to create a knockout movie. From enthusiastic line reading to state-of-the-art animation techniques, The Incredibles 2 used years of preparation to create a spectacular film. But that doesn't mean there weren't a few blunders along the way.
Wait a minute. You're saying what?
Believe it or not, The Incredibles don't do everything together as a family. In fact, when they were recording their lines for The Incredibles 2, they were alone with their most formidable foe yet, the director.
Right, yeah, good.
Okay, so director Brad Bird isn't that scary. He's actually like a big teddy bear. But the actors definitely had their work cut out for them, trying to get their lines just right. For one, they aren't even given full scripts when they come in to record. They're only given their lines and some direction about how each character was supposed to feel.
Make it like a private whisper to yourself, like...
Okay. The rest is up to the superhero voice actors, who made solo studio time sound pretty incredible. There is one perk to being the only actor in the sound booth: the amazing solo freakouts that are just as hilarious to us as they are to the voice actors. Just look at Sophia Bush, who brought enthusiastic superhero Void to life.
Wow. Wow.
It must be hard to fangirl over superheroes when you're the only one in the recording studio. But Sophia makes Void sound like she's surrounded by every one of her superpowered icons, even after doing the lines over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Joining Sophia with another epic freakout is Craig T. Nelson, who voices the one and only Mr. Incredible. Remember that scene when Bob was trying to help Dash with his dreaded math homework? Well, Craig looked just as upset about math when he was in the recording studio. And let's be honest, if you decided to become a superhero, math probably wasn't one of your strengths anyway.
Math is math! Math is math!
Helen Parr is the feminist icon we all need. She saves the world and her family and still makes it home in time for dinner. She does this all with so much flexibility.
I'm not all dark and angsty. I'm Elastigirl. I'm, flexible.
No one can tell Elastigirl what to do. Well, except for Brad Bird, who was telling everyone what to do. He made sure Holly Hunter, the incredible voice behind our fave female superhero, always said her lines with just the right amount of attitude. Holly just had to make sure to pepper a lot of fake laughter in there to perfectly capture Elastigirl's level of annoyance. Haha! But then there are some voice actors, like Catherine Keener as Evelyn Dever, who just couldn't seem to make a mistake. Look at her crush this line in just one take.
Things would have been different.
That's it.
Really?
We could almost forgive her for also trying to crush superheroes everywhere. Almost. Actually, we almost got to see Evelyn as a superhero instead of a villain. Can you imagine how different the movie would have been? Apparently, the villain kept changing throughout development. Catherine herself didn't even know about Evelyn's sudden shift to evil until she was given her lines for the scene where she forces the mind control goggles onto Elastigirl. That's a pretty rude awakening to your suddenly evil nature. But Catherine rolled with it, like planning to mind control all superheroes is just part of her day job. While Catherine had to experience Evelyn's descent into evil, Bob Odenkirk had an entirely different experience as her brother Winston Dever. Brad Bird said Winston was supposed to be a huge jerk who was obsessed with his own ego. You know, one of those types.
Spectacular.
But Bob just radiated such gentlemanly energy that he completely transformed the character into a genuinely nice person who really loves superheroes.
I love superheroes. The powers, the costumes, the mythic struggles.
We're happy at least one of the Dever siblings wasn't a total fake. The Incredibles 2 is packed with action and super speedy superheroes. But how do they get that superhero movement just right? Well, let's just say Dash moves a lot more slowly in the animation process than he does once he makes it to the big screen. This behind-the-scenes footage gave us a quick look at how animators make Dash move so quickly, and it involves hours and hours of sketching. Think you'd have the patience to help animate the next Incredibles movie? Speaking of animation, the Incredibles crew worked hard to bring fan-favorite character to life for the sequel, but she never actually made it in the final cut. Brad Bird originally wanted Frozone's wife, Honey, to be animated this time around, and they went so far as to come up with a character design and draw a whole scene of her entrance. Ultimately, they decided she's funnier as just a voice, leading us to wonder if she'll ever show up in an Incredibles movie. Let us know in the comments if you're ready for Honey to finally have her big break. Here's an insane fact for you. The Incredibles 2 had a whole team of people whose job it is to go into every single shot of the movie and make sure that the hair is reacting and moving correctly. Yep, the hair. The Pixar hair program was entirely changed for this movie. The last time they worked on it, it was for Monsters, Inc. With their new program, they were able to create longer, more versatile hair that's pretty realistic. They used this technology to make Violet's hair longer this time around, so she could hide behind it more effectively when she was feeling shy. You had to have wondered why Void's character is super extreme all the time. Maybe she reminds you of something like an excited puppy? If you thought that, then you're right on the money, because Brad Bird actually based her off of his dog, who has two moods. I love you, and I'm sorry. But Void's enthusiastic, nervous hand movements are all Sophia Bush. If you look at her reading her lines alongside the animation, it looks like Sophia is acting just as much as voicing the excited superhero.
I feel like
Brad's dog isn't the only part he put in the film. He actually both created and voices fan-favorite character Edna Mode. This probably isn't the face you imagine behind Edna, but Brad does an incredible job of bringing Edna's attitude to the big screen, darling. She's his pride and joy character after all. The voice acting process may have been lonely, but the collaboration really shone in the art and animation department. With all the pieces involved, it's no wonder the sequel took 14 years to make. Behind-the-scene footage gave us an inside look at how all different departments get together and discuss things they love and hate about the film, so that it can be edited down to perfection before it hits the big screen. Brad's there, of course, since it's his movie, but he also sits back and lets his team give their honest opinions. So, are these the real superheroes behind The Incredibles? It definitely seems like it. Did you know The Incredibles actually takes place in the 60s? The movie seems high-tech and modern, but it's 60s retro mixed with advanced technology. To match the 60s vibes, all characters had retro style icons on which their fashion and hairstyles were based. Helen's style is based on Marilyn Tyler Moore, Marilyn Monroe, and Audrey Hepburn, while Bob's style is based on Paul Newman. Did you spot any fashion moments in The Incredibles 2 that were definitely based on the 60s? Feel free to share them with us in the comments. For The Incredibles 2, they didn't skimp on an epic orchestra. They played live and together to record all the music, and it's incredible to see them in action. Just look at how many people it takes to make the magic and drama of a superhero movie come to life. These soundtrack heroes deserve a round of applause for keeping us on the edge of our seats.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Finally, let's talk about how voice actors and animators work together. The line reading comes first, and then as Brad explains, the animators listen to the recordings over and over again until they make the personality of the voices shine through the animated characters. They animate and reanimate until it's a perfect fit, and sometimes they have to even change things last minute and record new lines. But they figured out seamless ways of making these changes happen as quickly as possible. Dash might be the one with super speed, but these animators race to the clock every day to bring our favorite superhero family to life.
It's like a freaking student film!
We might not be able to grant you 3 wishes like the genie, but we're pretty sure this video is about to make all your dreams come true.
Can you make me a prince?
Welcome back, The Things fans. It's time for you to get ready to head into a whole new world. Disney has the super important job of making sure their live-action remakes come with just as much 90s nostalgia as their animated versions. And when it comes to the Aladdin remake, we can see just how hard they worked to make it perfect by taking a peek behind the curtain. But they couldn't do it without having all the fun, of course. In this video, we're taking you behind the cameras with bloopers, deleted scenes, and everything in between to show you just how they kept that nostalgic magic alive.
Ooh, I wish. Little monkey with the lamp trick.
This first deleted scene features Agrabah's finest street rat, his pet monkey, and of course the lovely Dahlia? We all know the iconic story about Aladdin and Jasmine's first meeting. He saved her after she accidentally steals from a street merchant to feed poor children. Robin Hood, is that you? But this live action has been holding back an adorable love at first sight moment between the two that never made the final cut. Flower petals and all. And then they proceed to quite literally run for their lives. How romantic.
Oh dear.
Sorry.
Speaking of running for their lives, what would an intense Disney chase be without a good musical number? Aladdin's performance of One Jump Ahead was nothing short of perfect, but that perfection came with a lot of movie magic. It's just unrealistic to think that a street cart would be perfectly placed to carry you to your destination, or that Aladdin would make every humanly impossible jump. Well, let's just say that a lot of rope was involved, and we're betting a lot of takes also. Shout out to Mina Masood for absolutely killing the number though.
There are stairs, you know.
Where's the fun in that?
With 2 main characters played by actors like Mina and Naomi Scott, there's no doubt they had a blast filming together. Their chemistry was iconic both on and off camera, and these adorable behind-the-scenes moments of the two will make your heart skip a beat. Convince us that they're not literally Aladdin and Jasmine in real life. Not to mention the adorable pictures the two of them shared while filming on set. Do you have a favorite moment between these 2 co-stars?
Get off of it.
Although there was plenty of skepticism before the live action was released over whether or not Will Smith could pull off being the genie, it's safe to say his character ended up being a huge hit. How could we doubt that the Fresh Prince wouldn't step into that role with everything he had? While he was in a lot of the movie, they couldn't fit all of his appearances into the 90 minutes. That's what deleted scenes are for. And this one happens right after Aladdin made a fool of himself when offering gifts to Princess Jasmine. Who doesn't love fireworks?
Fireworks!
I like fireworks.
If you've watched Aladdin, you know that while the idea of 3 wishes from a magical genie sounds pretty ideal, they can have terrible consequences. Which is why the genie makes sure Aladdin knows exactly how to make a proper wish before he touches the lamp. But in this deleted scene, the genie takes his warning a step further and even tells Aladdin stories of his past masters. Poor Saeed.
Wish to be irresistible to all women.
If you've watched Will Smith in action, you know that he can't go 10 minutes without making an entire room burst into laughter.
Oh! The genie is on fire!
So there's no doubt being on set with this world-renowned celebrity was anything short of absolutely hilarious. And these behind-the-scenes moments with Will are all the proof we need. How did they even get through filming a serious scene with him?
It's a big snake. It's a scary snake.
A lot of us grew up watching Disney hoping one day to live out our own fairy tales. True love, magic, and royalty were what we dreamed of, and the A Whole New World scene was literally the definition of everything Disney. Imagine being whisked away on a magic carpet. But while we'd all love to pretend that that could actually happen, we're here to burst your bubble and to show you just how unmagical the filming for the live-action version actually was. Well, at least we got adorable behind-the-scenes moments of Mina and Naomi vlogging together.
Hey, girl. Look how beautiful she looks.
We definitely wouldn't have had the bantering relationship between Aladdin and the genie on screen if there wasn't a huge bromance off screen. Yep, we're talking about Mina and Will. If you thought Mina and Naomi were adorable off screen, wait until you see some of the behind-the-scenes antics these two actors got into. Mina might claim that
he's so hard to work with. This is ridiculous.
But we'd wager it's actually the exact opposite. What do you guys think of a full-length movie just of their bloopers? We need it ASAP.
He's been amazing. I mean, seriously the best castmate I could ask for.
Speaking of off-camera Mina, well, he's hilarious. Will definitely wasn't the only comedian on set during their months of filming. Whether it was throwing out random peace signs, modeling Aladdin's outfits, or ruining takes by walking through them when he wasn't supposed to, he looks like he would be fun to work with. What actor out of the cast would you want to work with the most?
This is Max, our AD. He's about to get mad at me.
This next scene we're going to talk about took a lot of work not just from the main cast, but from literally hundreds of people. It's probably the most showy scene of the movie, and if you take a look at the behind the scenes of it, it definitely wasn't easy to create. It's the genie's parade into the castle, singing Prince Ali, Fabulous He, Alia Babwa, of course. The CGI team also had a lot of work to do. Take a look.
Just as much a pleasure for me, Your Highness, sir.
Sometimes when you're on set, things just don't go as planned, and that applies to everyone and everything. If every take of a movie went perfectly, it wouldn't take months of filming to get the film done. Whether it's props not cooperating or actors just having a human moment, we can't all be ninjas in real life. Mistakes happen. But that doesn't mean those mistakes can't be hilarious. In fact, the Aladdin live action has some pretty hilarious bloopers. Let's just say they really know how to make you fall for them. Of course, Jasmine couldn't just return to the palace grounds and pretend that nothing had happened during her rendezvous in Agrabah. In this deleted scene, the princess pleads with her father to see what she does when it comes to their people and maybe get rid of Jafar once and for all. She's a strong, independent princess with an actual pet tiger, and no one, not even a villain, is going to stop her. It may have taken a while for him to come around, but she got her way in the end.
The people were threatened by your soldiers, not by criminals.
Speaking of Jafar, this deleted scene really brings out his true character. If you weren't sure how far Jafar would actually go to one day rule Agrabah, this scene will sure tell you. He'll go to any lengths in order to get his hands on the genie lamp, and his sidekick Iago is right there on his shoulder ready to help him every step of the way, even if it means turning to the sands of time.
I need real power! I need the lamp!
Speaking of Iago, pets are a huge part of Aladdin. We have Iago, Abu, and Raja as main characters throughout the film. And while this may be a live-action version of the film, we hate to break it to you, but the animals are still very much CGI, which means during filming, they're not actually next to the actors. Well, things can get a bit awkward on set when there's a monologue and the actors find themselves speaking to a stuffed animal instead.
Raja?
Ah, Prince Anders. If only you'd come to woo the princess before she met Aladdin. We're sure if his goofiness hadn't impressed her, his canon in this deleted scene might have. Bombs away! He may not have impressed Jasmine, but he sure did impress the studio. Disney recently announced that they have a Prince Anders spin-off currently at the work. We can't wait to see where this spin-off takes him, and his canon. How do you feel about Disney's announcement?
You naughty girls, you lied.
Of course, at the end of the day, a movie is only as good as its cast, and this behind-the-scenes moment of Will rapping on set shows you just how much love was between both the cast and crew. We can't be anything but grateful that Disney managed to put together such an amazing team to bring us some more Disney magic. We're sweating just thinking about how much time and effort went into making this film Disney-ready. Kudos to Mina, Naomi, and Will for pulling off some of the biggest Disney characters ever, while still managing to keep the fun behind the scenes alive. What was your favorite behind-the-scenes moment? Do you think they should have kept in any deleted scenes? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.